Well, this project got way away from me, but the rear wheels are back on, which means the subframe is completely done, and I've actually driven it around long enough to get this car inspected for the state of Texas. But anyways, upon reviewing the footage, I realized that this GoPro knockoff is really bad in low light conditions and also in close-up macro conditions. Therefore, I decided to stop filming a lot of it. What I'm going to do is recap and backtrack a little bit with some voiceovers and photos and whatever B-roll I was able to salvage, and then we're going to kind of resume the same video, and I'm going to talk about what I'm currently doing on this car.
Alright, so let's get started, and the first thing I want to emphasize is to have the proper PPE when doing this job. N95 mask and a full face shield is really going to be helpful, because otherwise you're going to be blowing out all these black boogers and things like that for days, and that's absolutely awful for your health, especially if we're looking underneath the car like right now. You can see if I've already started, but there's still a lot of rust on the paint, and you really have to get everything off so nothing spreads and so you get proper weld penetration. Here we are looking at that driver's side rear mount, and this is the one that's known to be the worst, and I did find one crack on it, as you can see right here in this photo. I also found another crack on the wheel arch area on that driver's side with some busted spot welds. So here's a better look at that crack right there, and then you can see the rust forming on those spot welds, signifying that they are cracked. There's also one all the way up there, you can see by the dark spot by the rear coil spring perch, and that was the worst cracked one, which I had to weld up. I also ground out all the seam sealer for this wheel arch area so I can stitch it. You can see on this passenger rear mount there's actually no issue at all, but I was able to find some big cracks along that wheel arch area on the inside. As you can see in this photo right here, that is all one big crack that stemmed out 3 ways. I also saw that the battery tray area was pretty rusty and crusty, and I decided to delete the charcoal canister at this time and then get rid of all those brackets by grinding out the spot welds. With the charcoal canister bracket off, I decided to take one last bracket off, which was the e-brake cable bracket, and that was just to better treat the rust between it and the body of the car. I ground off the spot welds and just decided to re-plug weld it back later on, but that's the extent of all the rust removal and treatment. So to get ready for welding, I traced the plates on the body of the car and sprayed weld through primer on the inside of that line, and here I am tack welding the plate onto the car and then following that up with stitch welding all around the perimeter. I stitch welded just so I didn't burn through the rear axle carrier panel, and it turned out pretty good. So here's a look at the big crack along the passenger arch, which I stitched up pretty well, and I also stitched up in between spot welds on the side of the wheel arch. The same thing for the driver's side, stitched up the crack, and I also welded between the spot welds on the driver's side wheel arch. That just stiffens up this area very, very well. And here's another look at all the remaining plates after I stitch welded everything up. At this point I'm getting pretty tired of everything, definitely stopped filming, but I'm grinding everything away, making sure everything is ready for seam sealing and paint. So here we go, we got everything taped off. I got all the spot weld places taped off so I don't have to clean that afterwards. I got some stuff masked here and there, but the rear trailing arm pockets are good to go. The rear subframe mounts are good to go. The e-brake tunnel is good to go. So there you have it. Everything is primed, seam sealed, and protected. Now this definitely isn't my best job just because of how hot and humid it was. The seam sealer was just drying very quickly and really tough to work with, but everything is protected, so I really don't have anything to worry about at this point anymore.
Alright, so welcome back to the video. You'll see that this car is in the same state as before, but with the side skirts actually off the car. So what has happened is, with the rear subframe completely rust free and it's in good running condition there, I decided to address the jack points here. Now, the jack points on this car they are way better than the E36 that I was working on. So if you look here, they're kind of just perfectly fine, and I really like the way that BMW designed these. I was worried because of how rusty the undercarriage was that these are going to be ruined, but no, there's minimum rust that I even have to deal with. Some surface stuff that I decided to just grind off since I was in there. The biggest thing that I've noticed is this corner right here actually accumulated a lot of dirt, and I think it clogged up, and that's why there's a little bit more rust repair that I gotta do here compared to the other side, because the other side is absolutely perfect. Since car's inspected, legal for Texas, I also decided to tear into the engine, and now we're gonna be doing some race car stuff. Spec E46 exhaust is there. We got some S52 headers. Those will be going in. I'm also going to be doing the intake manifold, so replacing the coolant pipes underneath that, and I'm actually going to just go ahead and do a heater core delete. Well, heater hose delete at this point, because the interior is still fully in the car, so the heater core won't come out just yet. We'll be taking off all that stuff. We're going to be capping the pipes in the back, and then we are going to be good to go on that front. Anyways, I will resume with some more stuff taken out, but at this point haven't begun the intake side of things, so we're really just going to be working under the intake manifold for now.